This one truth will change how you see your life forever, because one choice creates your entire path. If you're looking for motivation, wisdom, and life lessons, take the path of purpose.
How do I communicate effectively? How do I communicate effectively? It's a question that holds more weight than we often realize, because the way I communicate determines the quality of my relationships, the success of my career, the strength of my leadership, and the depth of my connection with others. Communication is not just about talking, it's about being understood. And more importantly, about understanding. If I cannot communicate effectively, I cannot lead, I cannot love fully, and I cannot grow. So, how do I learn to speak in a way that heals, connects, and empowers? Let's begin with history. The art of communication has shaped every civilization. Ancient Greece gave us rhetoric, the study of persuasion. Aristotle outlined 3 pillars of effective communication: ethos, credibility; pathos, emotion; and logos, logic. He taught that a powerful speaker must not only have a strong argument, but must also earn trust and appeal to the heart. In Eastern traditions, communication was viewed less as persuasion and more as harmony. Confucius emphasized the power of respectful dialogue, of listening before speaking, of maintaining peace through careful words. In Buddhism, right speech is one of the steps on the Eightfold Path. This means speaking with honesty, kindness, and intention not to harm, not to deceive, but to build clarity and compassion. Throughout every culture, wisdom says the same. Words can heal, or they can wound. Words can build bridges, or they can burn them. And once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Modern science confirms this. Studies show that effective communication lowers stress, builds stronger relationships, and enhances mental health. Poor communication is one of the top reasons marriages fail, teams fall apart, and leaders lose trust. So if I want to live well, love well, and lead well, I must learn to communicate well. The first step is awareness. I must become aware of how I communicate, not just the words I say, but the tone I use, the body language I show, the timing I choose, the energy I bring. Communication is more than speech. It's presence. Research shows that only 7% of communication is verbal. The rest is nonverbal: tone of voice, facial expression, body posture. That means I can say, "I'm fine," but communicate disappointment. I can say, "I care," but communicate distance. Effective communication starts with alignment, where my words, tone, and behavior say the same thing. The second step is listening. Effective communication is not about talking more, it's about listening better. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. They wait for their turn to speak. But when I truly listen, without interrupting, without judging, without formulating my response, I create space for truth. I make the other person feel seen, heard, valued. Stephen Covey said it best: seek first to understand, then to be understood. When I listen deeply, I learn what the other person really means. I hear the fear behind the anger, the pain behind the silence, the hope behind the hesitation, and that kind of listening builds trust. The third step is clarity. Effective communication is clear, not clever. It's not about using big words. It's about using the right words. Clarity comes from knowing what I want to say and saying it with intention. I don't speak to impress. I speak to express. When I'm clear, I avoid assumptions. I avoid confusion. I take responsibility for being understood. I slow down. I choose my words carefully. I check in and ask, did that make sense? How did that land for you? Because the meaning of my message is not just what I say, it's how it's received. The fourth step is empathy. Empathy is the heart of effective communication. It's the ability to step into someone else's world and feel what they feel. When I communicate with empathy, I don't just share my point, I consider theirs. I don't just try to be right, I try to be kind. I remember that behind every opinion is a person. Behind every reaction is a story. Empathy says, I may not agree, but I care enough to listen. And that changes everything. The fifth step is timing. Communication is not just what I say, it's when I say it. Some truths must wait. Some emotions must settle. Some conversations need a softer entry. Effective communicators don't rush. They wait for the moment when the heart is open and the mind is calm. They know that timing can turn a conflict into a connection. A connection into a conflict. The sixth step is feedback. Effective communication is not one way. It's a dialogue. I must be willing to receive as well as give. I must invite feedback and respond with humility. That means not getting defensive, not shutting down, but staying open, curious, willing to grow. Feedback is not criticism, it's a gift. It's how I learn. It's how I refine my words, repair my mistakes, and rebuild trust. The seventh step is authenticity. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with realness. When I speak from the heart, when I own my story, when I admit my flaws, I create space for others to do the same. Authentic communication is honest, but kind. It's vulnerable but strong. It doesn't manipulate. It doesn't pretend. It just says, here I am. Let's meet in truth. So how do I put all this into practice? Here are a few principles that help. 1. Pause before speaking. In a heated moment, silence can be wisdom. A breath can prevent a breakdown. A pause can create peace. 2. Use I statements. Instead of saying, you never listen, say, I feel unheard. Instead of, you always ignore me, say, I feel disconnected. This lowers defensiveness and invites understanding. 3. Ask questions. What do you need right now? How can I support you? What are you really feeling? Questions open the heart. Statements often close it. 4. Reflect back what you hear. So what I'm hearing is, do I have that right? This shows care. It prevents miscommunication. 5. Be honest, but choose love. If it's not kind, wait. If it's not helpful, reframe. If it's not necessary, maybe it's not the time. Because effective communication is not just about being heard. It's about building connection. It's about creating understanding. It's about choosing words that bring life. And sometimes, it's about silence. Listening without fixing. Being present without speaking. Holding space without judgment. Because sometimes the best communication is not words but presence. So what does effective communication look like? It looks like a conversation where both people feel safe. It looks like truth spoken with compassion. It looks like curiosity instead of criticism. It looks like conflict handled with grace. It looks like apologies given and received. It looks like growth. And yes, it takes practice. It takes patience. It takes humility. But the rewards are worth it. Stronger relationships, deeper intimacy, better teamwork, more impact, more peace, and ultimately more love, because the purpose of communication is not to win, it's to connect, not to impress, but to express, not to dominate, but to understand. That is effective communication. That is the path, and I am walking it.